Hey, what's going on, everybody? Desir here with the Old Man Logan Trials. Now, there is about 4 days left of this event. The thing I want to discuss today is how the efficiency works on this. It really doesn't matter if you get the one shot or if you do several sacks. The thing is how many turns you end up taking. That's as far as we know for how the efficiency works. So I put this guide together basically showing the attacks that I made, how I approach each node, and ended up getting to where I'm at on the leaderboard. Now, this is very star gated, so unfortunately you can't really just jump up to difficult 15, go ham on it. They locked us out of what our skill level can actually do. However, there's still going to be some skill involved to get the maximized efficiency on these runs. Currently, as of recording the intro to this video, I'm at rank 471. Every day I'm dropping about 20 to 30 ranks because of those people either getting a better efficiency score than me, or those that are getting the 7 stars to be able to do that difficulty 15 run. As you're looking at the screen right now, you're seeing about 28 people that have a better efficiency score than me running the difficulty 14 all packs and just trying to get the maximized efficiency score. So in this video, I'm going to show you what I did on each node to be able to get the maximized efficiency that I'm able to get right now. I'm still making a few tweaks on it, but for now, let's go ahead and look at the teams that I've used. For node 1, I used that Mercs for Money with Super Scroll. I take Dakin out. Node 2 is going to be the full Out of Time. Node 3 is the 3-piece Nowhere Super Scroll Void Knight. I do 2 to 3 sacks on node 4. I try to take out the Craven for sure, and then any additional is going to be a bonus. I then go in with Spider Society Black Knight on node 4 and 8. Node 5, I use a sack with the Superior 6, then I go in with Apocalypse Super Scroll and Dying. Node 6 is going to be that Cabal Emma Loki. And then for the last node, I actually use Cabal with Cosmic Ghost Rider and Black Knight. So we are going to be doing a difficulty 14 run, all packs, so that way you can see what I end up doing on each of them. I'm not going to do a complete walkthrough. I'm going to give you my thought process, who the priority targets are, what teams to use, and if there's going to be any control and what abilities you're going to want left for the following node that you're going to use these characters on. So for node 1, we're going to use that Mercs for Money. We're taking Dakin out, so you don't have to build them up as high for this. However, I would recommend building them high for other game modes. I'm going to put Super Scroll in. The reason I'm keeping Deathpool is because of those pings that she's going to be able to give every time we kill somebody, so it's going to lessen our turns to get that efficiency score higher for us. Panda Pool's opening is great. We're going to use the ultimate. That's going to do that 20% damage to everybody. I like to target the clump of characters on the right side because if we can get all of them lower to actually get the kills, then Deathpool's going to have that many more pings to give off. We are going to do the Old Man Logan special into Kestrel. That way we can get that stun on her. And then Deathpool's just going to spread it off. Don't be afraid to use Super Scroll's special either. There are going to be enough turns in this match to where that will be able to come back. I do like to try to save his ultimate though for that Cosmic Hero node when we have to get to the Apocalypse and all of the characters drop down on node 3. Once the second wave goes down, I like to try to control the Mockingbird or kill her off. The reason for that is she's going to keep spawning down the shield assault characters, and that's going to take turns away from us to be able to get to the later waves and actually finish this match a whole lot sooner. Even if there aren't a lot of characters on the field, don't be afraid to use Old Man Logan's ultimate and special abilities. They do a lot of rebounding and AoE attacks, and they come back on a very quick reset because of the way his kit works with getting turn meter and the ultimate ability energy. And this is what I'm talking about where I'm not afraid to actually use Super Scroll's abilities. This is the third wave of Node 1, and I do opt to use Super Scroll's ultimate because by the time I actually get to when I need his ultimate on that node 3, it will be up in time for me. Now that we are in the last wave, I do have Old Man Logan's abilities ready, so I'm going to use his ultimate right here. That's going to put the trauma and the whole lot of bleeds on the enemy team. So I got the bleeds out to start getting turn meter for the Mercs for Money team. For Super Scroll though, I do decide to save a special. I want to make sure that special is up for the start of node 3. That's actually very important. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot of efficiency away from us on that node. One of the best pieces of advice I can give you in this video as well is if you feel that your hits are taking too long, feel free to back out and go back in. I've had it so many times to where I get node 1 and 2 down as a good hit, and then say node 3 or 4, I mess up because I end up clearing it when I should have backed out because I knew the hit wasn't going smooth for me. So if you do feel that your hits are not going to be as efficient, back out and just start back over again. Now we are going to be moving on to node 2. This is going to be where we have to use our out of time team if you are doing the later difficulties. As far as the positioning goes, this is where I usually have them. Peggy's on the left, then Cosmic Ghost Rider, then Starbrand, then Cap. I have them as a fortifier in this one. Skirmisher would be good as well. Black Knight on here I actually have as a striker. That way we can make those bleeds a lot more powerful. Don't be afraid to burn as many abilities as you want in this matchup. The only characters that we need to actually be ready though for node 10 will be Black Knight, which we're going to be using him later on as well, so I'm not worried about him as much, and Cosmic Ghost Rider. For Cosmic Ghost Rider, try to make sure all of his abilities are up and ready to go for that node 10. As far as the attack goes on this node, I am going to try to take out the Doctor Strange Heartless by ability blocking him with Black Knight. I don't want him actually having a chance to go. And then Starbrand, we're just going to use that special on the Venom for that nice AoE hit. If you can actually keep it to where Gwenpool and Wong are still alive by the time the next wave comes in, it actually makes the next wave drop a whole lot easier for the positioning. As you see, the Strife actually drops down in the middle, and adjacent to him are going to be the Madeline Priors, who to me are the biggest threats on this node. Because we did have Black Knight's ultimate ready, we can use that right there on the Strife, and that pretty much clears most of this wave off, especially with Cosmic Ghost Rider, how he has adjacent hit damage. Once the last wave comes down, try to take out the Emma if she hasn't gone yet, and also the Void Knight. I try to keep him controlled to where he won't peel my buffs off. The Anti-Venoms are going to be a problem though, because if they end up getting to their ultimate to where they can bring back Venom and Scream, that's going to hurt your efficiency too much. I would recommend backing out and going back in if it ever gets to that point, because that means you're taking way too many turns. So far we're making pretty good progress. We're going into node 3, and this is where we're going to be using our 3-piece Nowhere team, along with Super Scroll and Void Knight. If you don't have Super Scroll, Photon should be able to slot in here fairly well for how we're going to tackle this node. For Nova's first turn, I like to use the special into the Nemesis to put a stun on him. Super Scroll, I'm going to use the special into the Silver Samurai and do a nice turn meter rewind to that group of characters right there. Void Knight, I'm going to use the ultimate into the blob to take away the taunt and pull everybody in. And now we're just going to try to control the group of characters of the 2 Dark Beasts, the Lady Deathstrike, and that Silver Samurai. So we're going to use Korg's special on there to do a turn meter rewind. And now we're going to try to take out the Toad with the basic from Super Scroll. Now we're going to try to evenly kill all of these characters until the next wave comes down. We don't really need to use Nova's ultimate or anything special like that. Just kind of use your AoE capabilities from Super Scroll, Nova's basic, and such. Once there are 2 characters left, the next wave is going to be coming down. I'm going to actually use Super Scroll's ultimate right here instead when Apocalypse drops. The main reason for that is I want to try to evenly kill everybody, or at least get them low enough health to where when Apocalypse does a special for that health rebalance, he actually hurts himself by dropping his health usually down into the yellow. Now we're going to pull the Nova ultimate and actually get that double tap on the Archangel. We're going to end up doing Korg's ultimate to do a rewind into the Apocalypse. I'm just going to tunnel down the Apocalypse right now. I want him to actually get sped up, so that way he's going to end up doing a special, and we can actually just take him out a whole lot quicker. So there, Apocalypse does end up doing that special, and you see that he actually dropped everybody into red, including himself, so now he's going to be a whole lot easier to take out. That's the trick I've been using on this node, is tunnel down the Apocalypse. He does the special, and actually lowers his own health along with everybody else's. It makes the cleanup a whole lot easier for efficiency. For node 4, I usually do about 2 sacks, however in this video I had to do 3 sacks. The first hit I actually use Kestrel, Mockingbird, Shang-Chi, Nick Fury, and Ronan. Our goal is to take out the Kraven, that way they don't have to have the safeguard on spawn, along with any other bonus characters. So for the sack, we're going to try to take Kraven out first. Mockingbird's going to use the ultimate at the start of this matchup. Nick Fury, we're also going to be using the ultimate so we can get more minions out there. Ronan's going to use the ultimate on Kraven. If the blind does not land, back out, go back in. Kestrel, she's going to end up doing the special. Again, if the defense downs don't land, back out, go back in. Shang-Chi next will be using the ultimate. That's going to do a nice rewind. Also, it's going to be hitting the defense down characters. For the minion, just use the basics so that way we can hit the defense down and get the Kestrel pings going. The next big goal should be trying to work down the lizards. That way we don't have to worry about them as much when we end up coming back in for the follow-up hit. If everything does go smoothly, you should be able to take Kraven out, plus 1 or 2 additional members of this team. That way when you come back in with the follow-up hit or the burn, you only have to worry about the lizard ultimates before you do your real hit. For the next hit, I'm just going to grab some tanky characters. Gamora is a really good option because she has that revive once, and we're just going to try to pull as many abilities as we can. The goal is to pull both of the lizard ults. So Gamora will be taking a turn. I'm just going to target the injured lizard and do the special here. Nakia as well is going to do the special to get some extra damage on the lizard. And there's one lizard ult that we got to burn, which was one goal. The other lizard ended up doing a basic. He didn't actually get another turn on the last round, so I'm just going to go in with another sack. For this sack here, I just grabbed all shield minions. They're all slow and they're all going to die pretty quick. For this sack here, the one lizard's going to go kill 2 minions, and now the other lizard's going to burn their ult, which is exactly what we wanted. So now we can go in with our real team. So we're going to be using the 4-piece Spider Society. I took Spider-Man Noir out, and I'm putting Black Knight in. Black Knight is still a striker for this matchup. So now this hit's going to be a whole lot easier. 2 characters are already dead. All of the lizard ults are removed, so we don't have to worry about them peeling away our buffs. And as you see, the Black Knight is already doing damage. Those retaliates really messed up the lizards by putting the trauma and all those negative effects and bleeds on them. So we're just going to take out the lizards. We're also going to be focusing down those spider slayers, because if they end up getting their ults off on us, that is going to hurt. Because of the threat that these spider slayers are, I am going to try to control them by either ability blocking them or putting a stun on them. And we're just going to finish this wave off, but we want to try to make sure that we have some control for when the Green Goblin Classic ends up dropping down on the next wave. Now that the next wave dropped down, we are going to be trying to take care of that Spider Slayer, as well as moving our attention over to the Green Goblin Classic. We have a bunch of debuffs still available on that lizard, so we are going to be trying to spread that around. Penny does have her ultimate up. I'm going to target the Green Goblin Classic and use the ultimate. If the stun doesn't land on him, usually I'll try to back out and go back in. The Ghost Spider is going to use that ultimate from the lizard to spread all those negative effects. The Black Knight's going to use that ultimate to do some massive damage to the Green Goblin Classic and Kraven. They're very controlled right now, so we can actually try to get rid of them fairly quick. Any abilities that do have a long turn cooldown, I try not to use those. That way I can try to use those on node 8 later on in the future. For node 5, I like to do this one in 2 different hits. I like to use the Sinister / Superior 6 combo, where I'm going to take Lizard out and Spider Slayer out. I'm going to add in the Vulture and Mysterio. Mysterio has really good control on this one. Vulture as well with that turn meter rewind and flipping the buffs. So right away, I like to use Vulture Special on the first Korg that's actually targeted when you load in. That way it's going to flip those buffs on the Nowhere characters. Green Goblin Classic, I'm going to grab somebody that has a vulnerable on them and use an ultimate to do a turn rewind, and I get that nice striker hit as well from it. For Kraven, I like to grab one of the Cosmos and use the special. That's going to put an ability block on the Cosmo along with both Dazzlers, which is going to be pretty big for us in this matchup. I'm going to get the Shocker out, and I'm basically just going through my abilities right now. When it gets to Vulture's turn here, use the ultimate to do a turn rewind, That way you're able to keep those ability blocks on these characters longer. When it gets to Mysterio's turn, I like to use the special. That way get blind on everybody. In Kraven's turn, I like to use the ultimate here as well. That basically just wipes out the wave or gets close to it for the next wave to drop down for us. When the next wave comes down, I'm not sure why, but the Thor Infinity War and Nightcrawler do come down injured. What I like to do here is actually work down the Forge a little bit. The Nightcrawler's just going to heal back up. I've tried to take him out before something happens. I can't get to that RNG factor to happen. So my goal now is to try to take the Forge out, make it to where Nova ults, which is why I like the Mysterio in here. That way when Nova does ult, I still have some characters left to burn some extra abilities. So I will let this play out for you guys. That way you can kind of see what my targets are, what abilities I like to get through before I end up wiping. For the cleanup hit, I like to use Apocalypse, Super Skrull, and the Undying team. Having the Greg and the Zombie Iron Mans out there to where the Zombie Iron Man's going to take the Gambit pings makes this a lot more tolerable. I know some people like to add Cabal in here, but I don't like the risk of either losing them or losing my abilities and not having them ready for the following node. So there are going to be 5 characters left. We're going to have the 4-piece of the Extreme X-Men and Nova left for this hit. I'm just going to use Super Skrull's special to do a turn meter rewind. Zombie Juggernaut's going to do the special to put the slow and trauma on them because of the War Pact. And we're just going to work through these characters right now. We don't have to worry about the Gambit pings. They always stay focused on Zombie Iron Man, which is great. For the main priority targets, I like to still try to take the Nightcrawler down a little bit, put as many debuffs on them as I can, that way I can spread them with the Zombie Juggernaut and the Hela. When it does get to Apocalypse's turn, I do like to use the ultimate right here, and I usually target the Nova, that way it can strip all those charges off of him, so I can really get the negative effects spread over to him as well from these X-Men characters, which you're going to see that Hela does right here. Once it gets back to Zombie Juggernaut's turn, I like to use that ultimate. That's going to spread all those negative effects even more and make it to where this is going to be a very easy cleanup based on the characters that we have. Try to conserve the abilities of the Super Skrull and Apocalypse though, so that way you actually have those ready for the next villain's node. For Node 6, this is where we have to use that Cabal team with Emma and Loki. You don't really need Emma that high. Loki, he's usually fairly high for people because of that Bifrost team. The Cabal is just a great team, so I'm actually taking them to DD7. They will be going into that Crimson gear for me, but they aren't Crimson for this at all. Something I do want to bring your attention to. Make Iron Patriot a skirmisher for this one. Namor and later Strikers, that way you can get that skirmisher striker combo going. The main target for this is going to be the Penny, so I like to target her down first with Loki's special. That's going to get the defense down on her and call in those 2 attacks. The Iron Patriot, I will be using the special here. That's going to flip all those positive effects for the enemy. Namor, I will be doing the ult as well. And all of this is going to be while I'm targeted on Penny, so I can get those striker hits. When I get to Leader's turn, I actually use the special on the Peter B. Parker instead of the Penny, because Penny's actually fairly low on health. Emma, I'm going to use that special to get slow on everybody. And Iron Patriot, again, I'm going to use that ultimate. I'm going to target the Beta Ray Bill, because there's a nice clump of characters there for that AoE damage. Now that the next wave comes down, we will use Leader's ultimate to try to get some ability energy back for Namor. And now we're going to be able to use the ultimate from Namor again for a nice turn meter rewind. Right now I'm going to try to take out the Vol, who was close to having their turn. Emma, I'm going to use the ultimate on the Spider Weaver. She's the next big threat for us right now. We don't want her going off. Iron Patriot, we're going to use that special again for some nice AoE damage. And for Leader, we're just going to use a basic right there to try to get some ability energy back. If you want, you probably target somebody else that has the vulnerable. I just didn't on that one. As you see, this node is very easy. It's trying to get it knocked down to as few turns as possible, and also make sure that you have your main abilities ready for that node 10, such as Leader's ultimate, Iron Patriot's abilities, both of them the special and the ultimate, and Namor's abilities, his special and his ultimate. For node 7, this is the next cosmic bio node. We're going to use the same characters as last time, so we're going to use that 3-piece Nowhere, Super Scroll, and Void Knight. So for this one here, I don't have Nova's abilities ready. I am going to stay targeted on the Shang-Chi though. He's kind of the biggest threat right now. Super Scroll, we do have all of his abilities ready. So we're going to use a special on the Shang-Chi to do a nice turn meter rewind. We're basically going to try to ramp up our characters, do as many AoE hits as we can in this, but focus down on the exposed. For this one here, I am going to use Super Scroll's basic. I want to save the ultimate for the next wave that comes down. That way we can do a nice chunk of damage, and we have time to ramp up to get his ultimate ready again for the following wave. For Void Knight's turn, I am going to use that ultimate on the Invisible Woman. I don't want her putting the barrier up, otherwise it's going to take more turns away from us. So right here, I didn't actually need to use the ultimate like I was initially planning on, so I just decided to do the basic to do a chain across. I'm going to work down the Colleen Wing though right here. The main reason for that is if she gets her ultimate with the heal blocks on us, it's going to kind of hurt. Now that it's back to Super Scroll's turn, this is where I decide to use the ultimate and I stay targeted on the Shang-Chi. I don't want him ulting me. From here, it's a very easy cleanup between all the characters. I just did a basic with Nova, then just finish off the Luke Cage and the Iron Fist. Node 8 is going to be more of a taxing hit on your efficiency than anything. I'm going to opt to go in with the Spider Society team with Black Knight like we did before. However, another option that you can do is go in with a burner team, so that way you can try to burn as many abilities from the Gamma team as possible, and then come in with this team as well. So we do have a lot of abilities left from the previous Node 4 that we did with the Spider Society. We're just going to do some of our chain attacks, our AoE damages. Our main priority targets on this one are going to be the Gamma team. We want to get rid of the Abominations and the Brawn before we get to the Red Hulk. The Moonstone usually tends to die from the splash damage that we do. I do like to work down or at least control the Absorbing Man that's on the left side of the field. At least try to kill one of them is what I do, mainly because I don't like getting bounced between two different taunts. As you see, Pavitra, when he gets to his ultimate and they have the defense downs, tends to just kind of destroy anything that he touches. The Black Knight, those retaliates with all the debuffs out there, and the trauma is very key in this matchup if you want to get the high efficiency score. I do opt to save the Ghost Spider ultimate. I want to save that until the next wave drops, or at least when the Red Hulk is out there, so I can try to get a stun on the Red Hulk and spread a lot of negative effects over to him. Right now we're getting in a position to where we can start taking the Brawn out and both Abominations. Now that the Hulks are out here, one method that you can do is try to take them out. That way when the Red Hulk drops, he won't have the immunity. However, I ended up taking the Titania out and I actually didn't get much damage on the Red Hulks. I'm going to try to focus down and control the She-Hulk though. I don't want her throwing negative effects back at me or trying to stun my characters. The Red Hulk and Kang are out here now. I am going to use Penny's special on the Kang to try to control him. And I want to save the ultimate from her for when Red Hulk doesn't have the immunity on him anymore. Try to avoid hitting with the Red Hulk, so the chain attack that I do luckily didn't chain over to him. I don't want to put any charges on Red Hulk unless I'm ready to actually take him out. Now that Red Hulk has taken his turn, I can use Black Knight's special to put the ability block on the Red Hulk. He did end up resisting it, so I gave him a charge. Ghost Spider, I opted to do the special instead of spreading the negative effects, and I did end up getting the ability block on him, so now we can just focus him down and not worry about the ultimate that the Red Hulk can slam on us. Now be mindful of the Black Knight's health. We want to make sure that he's in a good position because we are taking him into No 10. You will see that I make a slip up on this run. Black Knight right there is in the red. I didn't notice how low he got and I ended up finishing this wave off with Black Knight in a bad position. If you get in this position here, I highly recommend backing out and going back in. I didn't realize it until it was too late when I was on No 10. Node 9 is very easy for this villain's node. I do end up using the same team as before, so I'm going to use the Apocalypse, the Super Skrull, and the Undying team. I think good options that you can use here is if your Cabal team doesn't have the abilities ready, you can put them in here, you can slot Kang in here, or even Black Cat in here. There's a lot of great options. This node is very easy. Because of how this wave is actually grouped together, using Super Skrull's special to do some nice AoE damage at the start is going to be very nice. If you have any abilities ready from the Undying team or Kang or anything like that, just slowly work through this as far as getting the characters killed off. Like here I use Apocalypse's special, that's a nice AoE hit. It does the ISO attack and Miss Marvel is dead. There really aren't a lot of big threats on here. The A-Force do have their war buffs, however that's usually for war offense. So I'm just going to go through this, burn through my abilities, and get to the next wave. For this wave here, it's mainly going to be the Young Avengers. Again, just work through them. The Zombie Iron Man's going to make it to where they're going to hit themselves. Don't worry about saving any abilities from Apocalypse and Super Skrull because we are done with them. For the last wave, I like to focus down the Squirrel Girl, so that way she doesn't cleanse any of the negative effects that we have out there. Again, we're going to use Apocalypse's basic here, do some nice AoE damage, and that starts to pick more of these characters off. The Squirrel Girl's gone, Apocalypse is now able to do the ultimate, and it's a very easy cleanup to finish this wave. Because my Black Knight was in such a bad position from node 8, I have to go in here with the sack, so I'm just going to use the remaining members of the team that I'm not going to have. The goal of this hit is just going to be pull as many abilities as I can so that way Black Knight could survive when I bring him in. So we don't need to worry about doing any heals or anything. I'm just actually going to focus down the Mr. Sinister right here, that way he can die a lot easier. As far as abilities I want to pull, it's going to be that Black Cat special, the special there from Robbie, the Ghost Rider special, and the Morbius specials. That should wipe us out and allow us to actually survive when we come in with the Cabal, Black Knight, Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now we're going to come in here with that Cabal, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Black Knight. You see Black Knight's in the red, so I did switch him to a Fortifier for this. If you can, keep him as a Striker, so that way the bleeds do extra damage. Put Leader adjacent to him because he does spawn with the evades. Now that all those abilities are pulled off, we do have Black Knight as that Fortifier, so all these hits are going to be healing him up to allow him to survive a lot easier. The ultimates that are going to be coming will actually give barrier to the Black Knight, so that way he will survive. We're going to use the Cosmic Ghost Rider basic. We're going to target down the regular Ghost Rider first, that way he does have that adjacent damage. On Leader's turn, we're just going to use the basic. We want to save that special for when the Nova comes down on the following wave. As far as characters to keep alive for this, I do like to keep the Robbie alive and that Morbius alive. That way when they come down, they're in this position, which is very favorable for us. We're just going to do the basic into the Zombie Juggernaut. We want to get the taunt off of him, and then we're going to turn all our focus onto the Nova right here. Iron Patriot, we are free to actually use the special right now. We want to get the Nova down as fast as possible. We lost Cosmic Ghost Rider, that's perfectly fine. Leader's turn, we're going to use the special onto the Nova. I am going to turn my attention quick over to the Zombie Iron Man. The reason for that is I don't want us to get bleeds and start attacking each other. When this wave comes down, I do opt to use Namor's ultimate to do a turn meter rewind. I'm going to use the basic right there for Leader. I want to save the ultimate for the following turn. Black Knight, I'm going to use the special to ability block the Robbie. I'm going to use the stun from the ultimate on the Green Goblin Classic. For Namor, I'm going to use the special on the Mordo, and that got me 2 kills, so we get extra turn meter. We're going to turn everything that we can over to the Mephisto. We don't want Mephisto to get a turn. Leader's going to use the ultimate on Mephisto as well. The Iron Patriot's back up, which is perfect. We're going to use that special to do a nice AoE hit. We got another kill for more turn meter. And now we can do a turn meter rewind because the battlefield effect is not out for Mephisto. And that ends up taking out Mephisto and Robbie. And now we got the victory. So that wasn't an optimal run, however you can see that I did get a new high score by about 1,000 to 1,300 points from when I actually started the video on here. I do have some fleshing out to do to try to optimize a little bit more efficiency, but hopefully this did help you out. When I did start recording this video, after I did the run, I finished at rank 436, so you do see I dropped quite a bit since I recorded this video. I do feel by the time the event is done, only the people with 7 stars will have that top 500 slots, based on how far I'm falling and what you can see here. But hopefully this did help you out. If it did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.